And what I always find interesting is that even when, to speak about such a concept is to immediately put limitations on it anyway, because you're trying to put something that is unspeakably amazing, profound, infinitely small and big into a very narrow margin where, our language just doesn't encompass such an idea. But we have this propensity to then quabble over whose really bad version of the indescribable is the best. And then if you don't believe that, we should kill you. And I think that's wrong. One of the ways in which I think that seeps into society is something somebody said earlier in their definition of what God is not. I think it was you, Sammy, is like non-judgmental, and I think that you're right, but I also have to say that on one level you're wrong, because if God is this infinite, ever-present concept of spirit presence that we have, he has to be all things. If we're created in his image, maybe he is a judgmental son of a bitch, as much as he's not. I think that you have to embrace both sides of it, like Eastern mythology, Eastern philosophy does, that is the yin and the yang. This in Christianity and most Western religions, you draw a line that say, it has to be this or that, and that's it. It's either good or it's bad. It's the dark side of the force or the light side of the force. And instead of it's just the force, why do we have to draw the distinction? As soon as you start doing that, people start having divisiveness between them. Wars happen. People die in the name of something that they only fucking partially understood to begin with. And it's kind of ridiculous to me.
What if the only way that God could actually enter the lives of people who need that to be the ones that we're in contrast to, the traditional religions, then maybe the only way it can enter their lives is in this kind of ridiculous way, because otherwise they're just not going to get it.
People need pretty packaging, so I would have to agree with you on that one.
I just think it's amazing for people like us in this world to be able to come together. And it basically gives me hope that all of us can talk and we can all kind of have different views, but at the same time, we can all understand where each other are coming from. And I'm really glad to have found.
Early on, it was pretty much like non-denominational Christian, but that doesn't really spell it out too much. I guess I probably shouldn't use names rather than talk about the characteristics of the love that was right around me. My grandparents were very loving. I was surrounded by love, so it was pretty easy from that standpoint to feel that there was this, just sort of accidentally, without trying to just sort of assume like that there's a unity and a love that will emerge between people even when it isn't quite there. Like I could see love that wasn't quite there yet and would be soon. Sort of like the extension of the love that was given into me, but certainly that has changed over time. It isn't nearly as ideal as it was, a lot of years. But that's how it was pretty much started. That's about when we met.
Sunlight streaming through.
My background is that of a hippie kid, which is the equal but opposite extreme of the army brat, basically. You move around a lot. There's a different kind of a structure. And I was raised without any dogmas, without any set constructs to what I was supposed to think. And anytime a question arose as to what I should think, and I asked that of my mom, she always put the ball back in my court. When I first questioned God, I said, "Is there a God?" She said, "That's something you have to find out on your own. That's something you have to find out on your own. That's something you have to find out on your own." And I think that is the perfect answer you can give to a child.
One of the main things that started making sense to me after I had my first couple experiences was simply that everything was falling into place. When I was traveling, the idea of manifesting what you need, the idea that if you need something, it will present itself if you truly need it, and that things that don't present itself, after putting force and effort, are generally things that you don't need.
I remember the first thing that really turned me on to the universe, life, everything was Lao Tzu and reading the Tao Te Ching. And then I followed that up with the Tao of Pooh. That for me was the first grand awakening in my life. In the center of the great wheel, as it were, and just like all of consciousness and everything was moving around me, like timeless and eternal in a moment. And pretty much the rest of my life has been about getting back to that and staying in that as much as I can, because there was a period for a couple of weeks where literally it was like living in paradise. Every interaction I had was just serendipitous. It was this just amazing expression with all of my friends, my sister, some really close friends, and we were all in this together. I mean, it was very much like the birth of church and the place from where I think it's born, which is this inexplicable but visceral connection to living and the shared experience of that. That's what, when two or more are in the same room or in my name, I am with them. That's you're talking about this outpouring of this feeling, this welling inside, and this place of stillness also that you have. And I think we were blessed to be able to share that for a time. And that was a magical period. That was a magical period. That was a magical period. That was a magical period.